Alright, you. Get in here, have a seat. You're just the person I wanted to talk to, too. We got some business to go over. The Don wants to talk to you. First things first. You doing okay? Of course you are. You're above ground, you're still breathing, and best of all, you're getting ready to watch another video from me, Screwface Capone, the gaming mobster. How awesome is that? Oh, and it's the weekend too, so how are you not doing good, right? Anyway, I want to talk to you about my man Goichi Suda, aka Suda51, and his company Grasshopper Manufacture. Now, Suda51 is what I like to refer to as one of gaming's Rockstar game developers. Now, what do I mean when I say that? I mean developers that give you a specific vibe when you play their games. Even when the gameplay is different between them, there's a certain feeling that you get when you play their games, and there's a certain level of quality that you can only get from them. I mean folks like Roberta Williams, Itagaki-san, rest in peace, Hideo Kojima, John Romeo, Peter Molyneux, Tim Schafer, Neil Druckmann, and to an extent Dennis Dyack. Like, even if you play games that are similar to their titles, they're not going to hit the same way, even if they are good, because, again, there's something that you can only get from that developer. For instance, when you're playing a point-and-click adventure like King's Quest, you know that's something that only Roberta Williams can give you. When you're playing something like Doom or something else that's hardcore and gritty, you know that's something that's coming from John Romero. When you play something that has good ideas but it might not pan out the way the developers intended, then you're probably playing something by Peter Molyneux. It's like that when you're playing a Suda51 game. With Suda51 games, you don't know what you're going to expect, but you know you're going to get something that's going to go completely off the rails and is just completely batshit insane. There's going to be tons of pop culture references, there's going to be some crazy twist, and it's got this atmosphere that I can only describe as punk. One of his earlier titles, Super Fire Pro Wrestling, that had that crazy story mode, which I'm not going to spoil here. Google is free, but suffice it to say, it's something that you didn't see in wrestling video games at the time, and you still don't see in wrestling video games. There's also Killer 7. This was a shooter that came out on GameCube and PlayStation 2 back in 2005 and was remastered a few years ago, and this had a unique twist of its own. There's also last year's Hotel Barcelona, and of course his most famous franchise, arguably, which is No More Heroes. So that brings me to the subject of today's video. Recently, the Don got a free key for the game Romeo is a Dead Man for PS5. I played for a little over 2 hours, so I decided to drop some first impressions. Before we hop in though, first things first, if you're new to the channel, by the way, welcome. I like to cover indie games and retro titles. I like to do reviews, previews, trailer reactions, toy unboxings. I like to do live streams every Sunday. I like to do lists. I like to do documentaries. Basically, if it's game related, you want to see something besides Fortnite and Call of Duty clips, here's where you need to be. So if that sounds good to you and you want to join the Mafia, hit that big red subscribe button. And I'll make you a made man just like that. If you want to do the Don one better, hit that bell icon, and that way you'll be the first to know whenever I drop a new video, because I got tons of stuff on the way and you're not going to want to miss any of it. And with all that out the way, let's hop in. So I'm going to try to summarize the game's story. Key word here is try. The game kicks off in 2019 in a fictional town called Deadford, Pennsylvania. Something happened that basically knocked the world out of alignment with space and time. And this something may or may not have something to do with what your grandfather did. You play as a former cop named Romeo Stargazer, who early on in the game gets killed by some bizarre mutant creature. But don't worry, the aforementioned grandpa revives you by injecting you with some strange kind of device that not only brings you back to life, but gives you this crazy new helmet, along with a spear that turns into weapons. In the process though, he dies, but don't worry, he himself is reincarnated as a patch that's on the back of your jacket and talks to you throughout the course of the game. Classic Suda51, right? From there, you're recruited into the FBI's space-time police force and sent off to hunt down supercriminals across space and time. Oh, and there's a girl named Juliet who's apparently one of these criminals and may or may not be your romantic interest, and you'll be encountering different forms of her throughout the game. Got all that? Yeah, me neither. But again, this is all on brand for Suda 51. Now the gameplay is going to be significantly easier to describe than the story. At its core, Romeo is a Dead Man is a hack and slash action game. You got your light and heavy attacks, plus a range option. There's also a meter you can build up to unleash a powerful super attack. And yeah, it gets very bloody as you tear through zombies and other grotesque enemies. Throughout the levels, you'll come across TVs that transport you to a realm called subspace. In these sections, you search for special items that you need to progress in the real world. At least in what I played so far, these areas are more puzzle and exploration focused, and they don't feature enemies, which is a nice change of pace. Throughout the game, you'll find a currency called Emerald Flosion. You can spend it on new weapons, upgrades, and other features. Some of these features even involve mini-games. For example, when you upgrade your character's abilities, it involves a Pac-Man style mini-game where you hold on to a button to propel yourself throughout the field. And this is just as weird as it sounds. You also find materials such as Sentry and Red Sentry that are also used for upgrades. The upgrade system can feel a bit overwhelming at first, but once things start clicking, it becomes easier to manage. And yeah, the game over screen is unsettling to say the least. I won't show it here, but once you do continue, you'll be rewarded with a random buff. Between missions, you return to a hub area aboard a spaceship called The Last Night. Here, you interact with crew members and take part in various mini-games. One standout is a cooking game where you and your mom make curry using ingredients that you collected. If you get the recipe right, you'll earn buffs for the next mission, depending on the type of curry that you create. There's also the farming minigame with your sister, where you grow quote-unquote bastards. The game, not mine. These are special zombie allies that you can summon into combat. Again, this is on brand for Suda. There's a lot more to the gameplay than what I'm going over here, but you'll discover when you play the game. And by the way, your superior is named Kimberly, even though he's a guy. Yeah, there's that. And there's a cat person too. Visually, the game is all over the place, but in a good way. The gameplay is standard fare when it comes to the graphics, but there are some creepy visuals, especially when it comes to the bosses. The hub area has a 16-bit top-down style that feels like it would have been at home on a Super Nintendo. The save screen menu resembles an old-school teletext screen, while the cinematics pull heavily from comic books and graphic novels. The mini-games you play resemble old arcade games, and there's even one that looks like Pong. One of the menus that you go to for upgrades resembles one of those old-school Japanese coin-op game machines. The game's vibe is basically a mashup of Saturday morning cartoons, space opera, and grindhouse cinema. This blend even extends to the soundtrack, which mixes J-pop, J-rock, synthwave, heavy metal, and jazz. It's pure madness, and again, it's exactly what you'd expect from Suda 51. So far, I really like what I played. If I had any complaints, is that the upgrade system can be a bit confusing at first, and the subspace sections sometimes feel longer than they need to be. Also, the shooting feels a bit loose and janky. However, I think this might be because it's still early on in the game, and things might improve once I upgrade my gun some more. Still, some of the enemy fights, including the bosses, involve shooting various weak spots, so the aiming could be a little bit cleaner. But these are minor issues, and there's nothing here that can be considered a deal breaker. I'm having a great time with this game, and I can't wait to jump back in to see what insane shit that Suda 51 is going to throw at me next. Romeo is a Dead Man is just one of the many great games that have dropped this year, and we're only in April, so there's still a ton of exciting stuff on the way. If you're looking to save some money on these titles, while also supporting the channel, check out my link below and head over to Fanatical. Right now you can pre-order Capcom's Pragmata at 17% off, along with Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight at a 12% discount. And if you're feeling a little charitable, take a look at the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Bundle. For just $6.99, you can get 11 great games, including Planet Coaster, The Tenants, and Imagine Earth. On top of that, your purchase supports the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Organization, which works to protect whales and dolphins around the world. 11 games for $7, and it goes to a good cause? That's a win-win. There are plenty of more deals and bundles available across the site too. Fanatical is a legit Steam key reseller that works directly with publishers, so you're getting official keys. No shady marketplace stuff, and there are no scams to worry about, unlike certain other sites. The Don doesn't promote anything that he doesn't actually believe in, so if you want to grab some great games and support the channel at the same time, hit that link below. And hey, when you get there, tell him the Don sent you. Earlier, when I talked about Rockstar game developers, one of the names I mentioned was Peter Molyneux. Yeah, he's got a bad rap for overpromising and underdelivering, but if you play one of his games, you'd be hard-pressed to say that you didn't at least enjoy what he gave you. One of his better titles was a 2005 game called The Movies. And by better, I mean one of the few games where he actually delivered most of what he promised. It's one half business simulator, one half movie creator, and it's pretty awesome, even with the few flaws that it has. If you want to learn more about it, a video I did based on the game just popped up on your screen, so check it out. And until next time, I'm Audi 51,000G, kinfolk.